Okay, so I'm gonna, here, let me get Microsoft Whiteboard. If I can. Okay. Trying to get it up, see if it's oh, there it is. There we go. All right, let me just get the screen up. Here it comes. Okay, so the first pair of points, which is -7, -15, 19, and -16. Okay. Now, so what we want to do is calculate the slope, and then, even though the directions didn't say this, I want to find an equation of the line through the points. Okay. All right, now let me just say this though. Notice that, okay? Oh, darn it, sorry. Try minimizing, I forgot I won't. There we go, okay. Notice though that if I were to increase x, right? If I look at the 2 points, which are on a line, if x increases from -7 to 19, what is y doing? The y coordinates, they're getting smaller, right? It gets more negative. So if x gets bigger, y is getting smaller. And that tells us right away the slope has to be negative. I mean, we still have to calculate it, but we know at least the slope has to be negative. Well, let's do it. So again, let me just erase this. There we go. So we have then -16, right? Minus -15. Okay, so again, we have the difference change in y over the corresponding change in x. So what I'm doing is this: -16 minus 15 minus -15. Okay, then I have to do 19 minus -7. Okay. Again, this is good. This is our m, which is our slope. Again, what's happening here is coordinates for the same point are on top of each other. That's what we want. Okay? You know, 19 and -16, they're on top of each other, on the same side of the subtraction symbol. Yeah, I hope that helps. So doing this, what do we get? Well, on top, we get -16 plus 15. On the bottom, we have 19 minus negative, so it's 19 plus. Right? Minus a negative becomes addition, okay? And so what we get is on top, we get -1. On the bottom, we get 26. That's the slope. For an equation of the line, okay, let me just for an there we go. What we want to do, what I'm going to do is use the point slope form. Now remember, what does that say? That says if you do y minus y sub 1 is m times x minus x sub 1. M is the slope. This point here is any point on that line. It's a point on that line. Okay. That's what we have here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the first point, -7, -15. Actually, no, sorry. Let me use 19, -16 as the point on the line. Although it really doesn't matter that much. So I'm going to use this, 19, -16. That's going to be the point on the line. For me, at least. So then we get y minus y1 is -16 equals, m we got is negative 1 over 26 times x minus 19. X sub 1 is 19. Move that up a bit. There we go. So that's what we get here. Now let me just write it slightly better. It's not wrong what I wrote, but writing it as addition is better. Minus negative as addition is better. So y plus 16, that's negative 1 over, let me move it up. Over 26 times x minus 19. So that's what I did. Now, you could have gotten y equals mx plus b. You could have done that. I didn't, because I just thought it'd be more work. And I could have used the other point if I wanted to instead. That's fine also. Right, so we have y minus the y coordinate equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate. That's all I did. All right, that's for the first example. Now for the second example, let me get to that. Let me just scroll up. So the points here are going to be, let me scroll this thing up. So for the second pair of points, okay, we have 1, negative 19, negative 2, negative 7. And again, when you look at these points, right, what are they telling you that about the slope right away? Well, notice that if we have x going from negative 2 to 1, meaning x is increasing, the corresponding y coordinates do this. They decrease. So right away, the slope has to be a negative number. You know, if the x coordinates are increasing and the y coordinates are decreasing, the slope has to be negative. I mean, technically, I guess, you know, that's a step you can skip, but it's good to know ahead of time, if you can, you know, it's good to learn about the final answer ahead of time if you're able to. Kind of like a check, you know? If you know the slope has to be negative and you get a positive number, obviously something is wrong. So now let's actually do the calculation. Okay, so we're gonna, what is that, negative 2? Well, oh, wrong. There we go. Let me just double check to make sure I did that right. Negative, yep, I'm right. Okay, so now we're gonna get the slope, m, okay? That's negative 7, right, minus negative 19, right? Notice how I'm doing this? Over negative 2 minus 1. Okay, again, remember, what do you want? Remember, let me just, hold on, let me just fix something. Okay, that's better. Remember, what we want here is the coordinates for the same point on top of each other. Negative 2 and 7, negative 2 and negative 7, excuse me, come from the same point. We want them on top of each other. That's what happens here. So we have negative 7 minus a negative is plus 19 divided by minus 2 minus 1. Wait, let me do it here. There we go. And we get on top, we get 12. On the bottom, we get negative 3. Oh, wait, you can't see that. Sorry. Let me fix that. There we go. And so we get negative 4. Now that's the slope. And once you get the slope, you're basically, how do I say this? You're basically, I guess, set. You just have to write an equation of the line. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to use, so for either point, you can use either point with the point slope form. That's what I'm going to do. So we have y minus negative 19 is the slope, which is negative 4, times x minus 1. This is if I'm using the first point. So we have y plus 19 is minus 4, x minus 1. This is, again, if I'm using the point 1, negative 19 as our point on the line. I mean, you could do mx plus b if you wanted to. I just think that's a little bit more work because, we're done basically with this example. All right, that's good. All right, are there any questions about that? Okay, because maybe what I'll do now is one more example from that worksheet. It's not what I asked you to do. It's not one I asked you to do, but it would be good practice. So let me do that. So let me write down the points. Okay. Let me scroll up. Like so. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so let me do another example. Okay, so let's get the slope here. Okay, so again, right, change in y, so negative 4 minus 7 over corresponding change in x, minus 6 minus 4. Okay, right, change in y over corresponding change in x. Okay, you can see that minus 4 and minus 6 are on top of each other, and they come from the same point. So on top, we get minus 11. On the bottom, we have minus 6 plus 4, which is minus 11 over minus 2. And of course, that's the same thing as 11 over 2. So our slope is a positive number. But that should really be expected if you think about it, right? Because if the x values are going from minus 6 to minus 4, right? They're going from minus 6 to minus 4. Notice the y values are increasing as well. So as x is increasing from minus 6 to minus 4, the y values increase as well, from minus 4 to 7. So we should get a positive slope. Now let's get an equation of that line. So I'm going to use the first point. There's less negatives there. Let me scroll this up. There we go. So we have y minus 7 equals 11 over 2 times x minus 4. So I'm using the first point, minus 4, 7. And the slope we got. Okay, good. Let's see. We have about, how much time we got? Okay, we have about less than a minute. So are there any questions about this? Okay, so so next time what I'm going to do is I'll do another example or two of what we saw earlier today. I don't mean the slope stuff here. Then I'll start new stuff, 2.4, which is functions. So I'll do that. I'll start that next time. Okay, so there are no other